Well, Jesse, thank you so much. And a 14-year-old was just arrested Wednesday after a gun was found at his high school. Peoria High went into lockdown yesterday morning after police say the teen got into an argument with another student and pulled out a gun. Police say the teen is now facing several charges. Investigators there say that around 10 Wednesday morning, the two teens were fighting when the 14-year-old pulled that gun out on the 16-year-old. Now, in the midst of the struggle, police say the gun fell on the floor. And that's when officers say another student who wasn't involved grabbed the gun and handed it to a teacher. The school was put on lockdown for about 2 hours. Police say the gun was not loaded, though, but was reportedly stolen. The 14-year-old is now facing a number of charges, including possession of a stolen gun and aggravated assault at that. The teen was taken into the Peoria County Juvenile Detention Center, and police say nobody was hurt here. And also yesterday, Peoria police arrested a 39-year-old woman accused of shooting into a car, sending a man to the hospital. They say Letitia Bailey got into an argument with a man Tuesday afternoon on North Street. And when the man tried to drive away, officers say Bailey fired that gun into the car. The man was shot in the hand and taken to a hospital. Bailey is facing aggravated battery, among other charges. And Peoria police are now investigating a shooting that happened just after 10 last night. According to police, it was a person taken into the hospital after the shooting in the 700 block of Eaton. When police got to the scene, they say the man was found with a gunshot wound to the leg. As of this morning, though, his condition is unknown, but police have not released any information on possible suspects or any arrests for that matter. And one person, meanwhile, is injured after shots fired incident in Bloomington. Police say it happened at around 2 Wednesday afternoon in the area of Mason and Locust Streets. Just after being told of a possible victim at the hospital, police later determined that the victim was not shot, but injured in a vehicle, and that was damaged during the incident. Now, the vehicle was also found at the hospital with, the victim was found at the hospital with multiple bullet strikes. Police add that at least 4 people were in this vehicle while traveling in the Mason Locust Street area when it was targeted by gunfire and an unknown suspect. Anybody with any information is asked to call Detective Engel at the number listed right there on your screen. And the race to replace the outgoing Mayor Jim Ardis in Peoria is still tight, with Jim Montalongo now holding on to that 73-vote lead. But another 675 mail-in ballots still need to be counted. Of those, Peoria's election leaders only expect about 400 to come back and be returned.
Nothing was ever official on election night, but when you had the vast majority of the votes in, you could make a call, and that's not the case now. And so not being able to make a call on election night, I think probably has something to do with vote by mail.
The Election Commission will count new mail-in ballots starting today. Depending on how many arrive, though, that could determine the winner. And a different Denise brought the upset of the night in Peoria City Council contest. Former 25 News reporter here, Denise Jackson, defeated incumbent Denise Moore for the 1st District Council seat by a 40% vote margin. Jackson starts her 4-year term on City Council the first Tuesday in May.
At the end of the day, we've got to look beyond the election and decide and ask ourselves, what can I do to help make our community stronger?
Jackson says some of her first priorities in office will be cleaning up roads on the south side and trying to spark a little bit more development. Bloomington will greet their new city council members as well, but the warm welcome that they might be expecting may be missing in action. Ward 6 council member Jen Carrillo was not up for re-election this year, but the candidates that she supported all lost. Carrillo made her frustration known, publicly singling out Sheila Montanese and Nick Becker's victories in a Facebook post after both candidates received endorsements from the police union representing Bloomington police officers. In the post, Carrillo complained, quote, "I look forward to making Sheila Montanese and Nick Becker's life a living hell for the next 2 years. They're dangerous authoritarians who got bought out by the police union. Quote, I have no interest in seeking unity with people who stand for everything I stand against." End quote. We did speak with Becker and Montanese on Wednesday.
It makes me sad. I believe in my heart that, my intentions as well as Sheila's are incredibly focused on doing good for the city. And I believe that if we work together, we can accomplish things for all of our constituents.
Well, I just think it's unfortunate. I'm sure there are things we agree on. I believe bringing people together starts with common goals. Establishing common goals allows people who have diverse opinions to come together in order to achieve them.
Montney will be taking over the seat currently held by Mayor-elect Mboka Mwambwe. COVID-related hospitalizations, though, have nearly doubled in just the past 10 days. Data from the state health department shows the number of COVID patients in the hospitals right in Region 2 has gone from just 100 to nearly 200 since last Sunday. ICU bed capacity has also fallen to just 21% of beds now available. That's 10% less than about a month ago. If we get below 20% and stay there for more than 3 days, we could be going back to more intense state-imposed restrictions on things like indoor dining. Zooming in to the Tri-County area now, the numbers there look relatively similar. We've had more than 125 COVID patients in those hospitals for 3 days in a row now, after we stayed under 50 for nearly 2 months. Well, you have 2 chances to get COVID-19 vaccines today. The public vaccination clinic will be taking place in the downtown Peoria CityLink Transit Center today from 1 to 5 p.m. This is for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, the single dose. You must have an appointment and wear a face mask or face covering. Now, while the clinic is going on, the transit center lobby, except for bathrooms and ticket sales, will be closed. To register, call 211 or call 309-999-4029. And in Fulton County, vaccinations are available today to all Fulton County residents over the age of 18 through a large-scale clinic there. The first clinic takes place at Alice Ingersoll Gym on West Walnut Street from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. today. There are still time slots available, though, and you must pre-register online to do that. To sign up, just call the Fulton County Health Department at 309-647-1134. FEMA is now launching a massive funeral assistance program to help families of the 500,000 Americans who have died from COVID-19 just next Monday. The program is offering to reimburse Americans up to $9,000 per funeral of a coronavirus victim. Households that have lost more than one family member to COVID-19 can receive up to $35,000. The deaths in question would have had to occur after January 20th of 2020 and be attributable to coronavirus. FEMA received $2 billion from the Coronavirus Relief and Response Supplement Appropriations Act of 2021. FEMA is now launching a toll-free number to provide more direct assistance to consumers. Applicants, though, will have to supply paperwork on funeral costs as well as a cause of death. And after 39 years in business, Binkley's Jewelers in Morton is now closing their doors. The owner is now saying that they're trying to track down customers who still have items inside, because over the years, the store has developed a wide collection of jewelry that has been forgotten about or left behind after someone passed away. A list of names can be found on their Facebook page of people who still have jewelry at the store. And the store owner, Bruce Binkley, says that he's had a good run, but he's ready for retirement with his wife and shop dog, Echo. And Target, meanwhile, is now pledging to spend upwards of $2 billion with Black-owned businesses by 2025. The retail giant's plan includes adding products from the more than 500 Black-owned companies, and it goes way past June to the product lineup. Now, Target is also planning to boost spending with Black-owned marketing agencies as well, construction companies, facilities maintenance, and even more. The company says it will also set up new resources, including the Forward Founders Program, to further the growth of Black-owned companies. Well, the current time here is 4:41. Coming up, meteorologist Jesse Gwynn is tracking, well, maybe a nicer weekend on your forecast. We'll have that exclusive 10-day for you. Plus, President Joe Biden plans for gun control. Britt Conway breaks it all down for you coming up after this.